When we think about our weight, our minds usually jump to things like fitting into our clothes or maybe our heart health. But today, we're going to talk about a connection that's incredibly important, but often flies under the radar: the hidden link between body weight and the risk of developing cancer.
So that's a pretty direct question, right? And the science behind the answer is exactly what we're going to break down. Now, this isn't about causing alarm or fear. It's really about understanding how our bodies work so we can feel empowered to make the best choices for ourselves.
And we're not talking about some tiny, insignificant link here. Think about it like this: a full 10% of all new cancer cases in the US are connected to excess body weight. That's a huge number, and it comes straight from research in the medical journal JAMA. It really tells us this is a connection we need to pay attention to.
Okay, so what is actually going on inside the body? How can something like body fat have such a big impact on something as complex as cancer? Let's dive into the biology of it.
All right, this is a really big idea we have to get our heads around. For the longest time, we kind of thought of fat as just a passive storage closet for extra calories. But what science shows us now is that it's anything but passive. It's a dynamic, active tissue that's constantly busy, and it can literally change the chemistry of your body. The fancy science name for it is adipose tissue. And check this out, it's now considered the body's largest endocrine organ. Yeah, you heard that right, an organ, just like your thyroid. It's basically a hormone factory, pumping out signals that travel all over your system and affect how things run.
Okay, I know what you're thinking. You see a diagram like this, and it looks super complicated, right? All these arrows and scientific terms, but don't sweat the details. We can boil this whole thing down into 4 really simple ideas. So here's how it works. First, that extra fat creates what's called chronic low-grade inflammation. It's kind of like having a low-level fire constantly smoldering inside you, which can damage your cells over time. Second, it messes with your hormone levels, especially by cranking up hormones like estrogen that can encourage certain cancer cells to grow. Third, it can weaken your immune system. Think of your immune system as a security team. Excess fat makes it harder for that team to spot and take out rogue cells. And finally, fat can actually leak fatty acids that act as a high-octane fuel source, directly feeding tumors and helping them get bigger.
So this isn't just some theory. All those biological changes we just talked about, they've been directly linked to very specific kinds of cancer. In fact, we're talking about at least 12 different types of cancer that have a clear link to excess body weight. And this includes some of the most common ones you've probably heard of, like postmenopausal breast cancer, colorectal cancer, and endometrial cancer. It just shows you how wide-ranging the impact can be.
All right, I know that was a lot to take in, and it might sound a little scary. But hang with me, because this next part is maybe the most important part of this whole conversation. Because this isn't a story that ends with risk, it ends with empowerment. And that is the key message here. Just because this link exists doesn't mean your fate is sealed. Not at all. It means you have knowledge, and that knowledge gives you power. You're in the driver's seat. And hey, this isn't just wishful thinking. It's backed up by solid research. As a major review in JAMA put it flat out, weight loss can reduce cancer risk by reversing those very same biological effects. It helps calm the inflammation, rebalance the hormones. You get the idea. So how much of a change are we talking about here? Well, the research gives us a pretty clear target. While any positive change is a step in the right direction, studies show that losing more than 10% of your body weight is where you really start to see a significant drop in risk. That makes it a real, tangible goal. And listen, getting there doesn't require some miracle. It all comes back to the basics, right? Focusing on a diet rich in nutrients, finding ways to move your body a little more each day, and this is the big one, remembering that consistency is key. It's those small, steady changes that create the biggest impact over time. So let's bring this all together with one final and I think crucial thought. When you boil it all down, it comes to this. This conversation isn't about shame or blame. It's about recognizing that every healthy choice you make today is a direct investment in your long-term health. It's you taking care of future you. So I want to leave you with this question. It's not about a total life overhaul overnight. It's about starting small. Maybe it's a 15-minute walk after dinner, or adding one more vegetable to your plate. What's that one small step you can commit to this week?